There is nothing we love talking about more over here at Top 5 Scary than cults, am I right? Whether it be a single word, Manson, Waco, Jeffs, Jonestown, we know the names. They will forever linger in society, sending chills down everyone's spines. These iconic cults live on, providing plenty of nightmarish material, even novels. So today on Top 5 Scary Videos, I'm going to be counting down our list of the top 5 most terrifying cults in literature. Before we begin though, be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I'll be responding to some of your comments. Let's jump in. Coming in at number 5, Gather the Daughters by Jenny Melamed. Jenny Melamed's debut novel, Gather the Daughters, transports readers to a post-apocalyptic colony ruled by tyrannical men. The futuristic community is shaped by sexism, censorship, and government-mandated procreation. The book has been compared to The Handmaid's Tale due to its depiction of female servitude. Now, as the novel's heroines come of age, they are confronted with depravity of the colony's traditions, and thanks to specific occurrences, a rebellion is sparked. Now, unlike The Handmaid's Tale, we're given very little information about life beyond the island the cult is residing on, with Melamed keeping us in the dark and just as frustrated as her characters. It's a captivating novel that inspires but at times sickens, but is mostly a meditation on the dangers of misogyny and fear. In at number 4, Underground, The Tokyo Gas Attack and the Japanese Psyche by Haruki Murakami. Published between 1997 and 1998, Underground is a book by Japanese novelist Haruki Murakami about the 1995 Aum Shinriko sarin gas attack on the Tokyo subway. The attack was an act of domestic terrorism perpetrated on 20th of March 1995 by members of the cult movement Aum Shinriko. In 5 coordinated attacks, the cult members released sarin on 3 lines of the Tokyo Metro during rush hour, killing 13 people, severely injuring 50 and causing temporary vision problems for nearly 1,000 others. The cult, which was led by Shoko Asahara, had already carried out several other assassinations and terror attacks using sarin, and had also produced several other nerve agents including VX and attempted to produce botulinum toxin. In the raid that followed the attack, police arrested many senior members of the cult, with over 200 members being arrested. To this day, the attack remains the deadliest terror attack in Japan. Now, Murakami's novel is made up of a series of interviews with individuals who were affected by the attacks, and the English translation also includes interviews with members of Aum, the religious cult responsible for the attacks. In the novel, he attempts to make sense of the horrific attacks, and in turn is a true testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Coming in at 3, The Shelter Cycle by Peter Rock. Inspired by true events, The Shelter Cycle, written by Peter Rock, tells the story of 2 children, Francine and Colville, who grew up in the Church Universal and Triumphant, a religion that predicted the world would come to an end in the late 1980s. While their parents built underground shelters to withstand the impending Soviet missile strike, Francine and Colville played in the Montana wilderness where invisible spirits watched over them. However, when the apocalypse does not occur, the sect's members are forced to resurface and grow up in a world they believed might no longer exist. Now, the depiction of the cult is harrowing, but what makes the book more unsettling is the depiction of someone who has survived it. Someone who, having lost his rudder, might be capable of absolutely anything. Now, as outsiders, we believe that when people escape a cult, they are safe, right? However, Peter Rock turns this on its head and examines how cults continue to live inside of us, evolving and changing over time. Coming in at 2, The Girls by Emma Cline. The Girls is a 2016 debut novel by Emma Cline and is loosely inspired by the Manson family and the murder of actress Sharon Tate. The novel itself is set in 1969 and focuses on 14-year-old Evie Boyd, who feels isolated and unloved and ends up spending the majority of that summer with a group of teenage girls on a ranch who are all devoted to a man named Russell. Now, the novel never explicitly states that it's talking about the Manson murders, but it's obvious to almost everyone who reads it. Cline also gives intimate insight into adolescence, desire, and the grotesque lengths some are willing to go in order to feel like they belong. Now, for those who don't know, the Manson family was a desert commune and cult led by Charles Manson that was active in California in the late 1960s and early 70s. The group consisted of 100 of his followers who lived an unconventional lifestyle with habitual use of hallucinogenic drugs. Now, on the evening of August 8, 1969, 4 members of the Manson family invaded the home of actress Sharon Tate and movie director Roman Polanski and murdered Tate, who was almost 9 months pregnant at the time, along with 3 friends who were visiting and an 18-year-old visitor who was slain as he was leaving the home. The Manson family were brutal, brutal and absolutely abhorrent, so if you want to read a fictional depiction of the group, check out The Girls. And finally coming in at number 1, Jonestown and Other Madness by Pat Parker. Now, backstory before we get into the meat of the book by Pat Parker. On November 18th, 1978, a total of nearly 918 people died in a settlement at the nearby airstrip in Port Kaituma and at a temple-run building in Georgetown. Now, the People's Temple Agricultural Project, better known by its informal name, Jonestown, was a remote settlement established by the People's Temple, a cult under the leadership of Jim Jones. In total, around 909 individuals died in Jonestown, all but 2 from apparent cyanide poisoning in an event that has been referred to as a revolutionary suicide by Jones and some of his cult. Now, let's track back. Jones had founded what became the People's Temple in Indiana in the 1950s, then relocated his congregation to California in the 60s. In the 70s, however, following negative media attention, the preacher moved with around 1,000 of his followers to the Guineas jungle, where he promised a utopian community. That is not what they received, because as aforementioned, on the day of November 18th, 1978, US Representative Leo Ryan, who had gone to Jonestown to investigate claims of abuse, was murdered along with 4 members of his delegation by Jonestown gunmen. That very same day, Jones ordered his followers to ingest poison-laced punch, while armed guards watched on. Now, in the book Jonestown and Other Madness by Pat Parker, she examines the rise and fall of the charismatic turned murderous preacher Jim Jones. As a celebrated lesbian feminist poet, Pat Parker's collection is a gripping reflection on the way race, class, and gender played into Jim Jones's sadistic slaughter of his congregation. Throughout the book, she challenges us to reflect on how easily we accept answers given to us in the wake of a tragedy. I quote, "If 900 white people had gone to a country with a black minister and committed suicide, would we have accepted the answer we were given so easily?" The book is fantastic and incredibly moving. Not just that, but it's also the perfect insight into one of the most notorious cults and infamous massacres. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Were there any terrifying cults that we missed? Leave us your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 2. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos. Top 5 scariest demons you're glad aren't real. Fernando Soriano said 666k subscribers, lol. It's a blessed day over here at Top 5 Scary. Although, since yesterday it has moved on to 667, so moment over. Bob said, "More Lucy please. Your wish is my command." I'll get rid of him. Sandler Saturn said, "You're the only demon I want to befriend, if you'd let me. As a demon, I don't make friends, I destroy them." Just kidding. Sure, we can be friends. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. And until next time, see you later. But it's mostly a meditation on the dangers of misogyny and fear. And men. Don't include that. I like men. They're cool. They're gooch. You're gooch, Chris.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
You're the only one. And the English translation also includes interviews with members of Sorry, editors, that number sucked. I can't say words, because I'm too English and white. I'm uncultured. As well as prior followers, as well as in prior. What?
They make a joke there and call followers.
Lucy, don't make jokes, you ain't funny. Depressing. God, I'm blowing up. See how popular I am, Chris?
Oh, yeah.